What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Catchpolia sitting on the couch making some money investing in fractional real estate online, as usual. Today is Friday, so it's time for this week's installment of the 52-week challenge. This is our virtual accountability group where I share everything that I bought this week as far as fractional real estate investing goes, and lots of other people do that as well. Some of you do it in the comments, some of you do it in the Discord, a lot of you decide to just DM me. Any of those things are fine. If you are DMing me, make sure it's me. There are a lot of imposters out there. I've been trying to warn people as often as possible lately. I'm never trying to sell you any investments or services, so keep that in mind. Okay, and so what's the purpose of this? Just to make sure we're not just looking at lots of deals, getting stuck in analysis paralysis, and not actually doing any investing. I know that's a issue for a lot of people, and so I think sharing what I'm doing might help other people, and that's why we're all trying to share ideas, get better at investing in fractional real estate as a group. So if you haven't joined the Discord yet, in the description of this video there's a link to that Discord. There's over 200 of us. We talk about lots of different platforms. It's free and it's not a sales funnel. I'm never trying to sell you anything in the Discord. If you think that I am, it is an imposter account. So let me know when that happens. I'll delete ones that are actually in our server, but if they're outside of the server, all you can do is report them. Also in the description of this video, I have links set up to all the places where I'm invested in fractional real estate online. Some of those links are affiliate links. You'll make some money on your first investment and they'll send me some money too. Some of them aren't. They're just, they either don't have referral programs or I haven't found it or whatever it is. But just because I provide those doesn't mean I'm recommending them. You want to do your own due diligence. I am invested on all the platforms that I have links to, but it doesn't mean it's the right thing for you. You want to do your own due diligence on those platforms and on any of the properties that you see on there. Because just because I'm buying them doesn't mean they're going to make money. I'm doing pretty well so far, but I can make mistakes on these. I can miss things, and part of trying to share all of this stuff is so that we can work together, get better at investing. So I'm putting it out there for other people to criticize, just like if you see me buying something and you think it's not a great idea, I'm interested in hearing you share that information with me. All right, let's jump right into it. ARC 7, I bought one property, and actually I think I talked about this last week. This is the Atlanta condo. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo being run as a short-term rental. They actually are running several short-term rentals in this condo community. I had put the order in last week, but it never actually closed. I didn't end up getting these until earlier this week. So I guess I don't understand 100% how it works, because I thought that, I don't know. Anyway, I bought some of this. It's not a great yield. It's like 5% yield, I think. But a couple of things. One, I think that this could be seasonal, right? It could be down seasonally. And so if that's the case, then we might see an upswing there yield-wise, right? Because this is just the current yield. It's not your average yield. Even if that's not the case, 5% isn't a terrible yield, especially because I believe I bought this at a good discount to the real-world value. So on ARC 7, my strategy is a combination of a little bit of yield, because none of them have fantastic yields, but some yield, and then in addition to that, hopefully picking up some instant equity by buying at a discount. That's what I bought on ARC 7. If you've been on here for a while, I know a couple of you have talked about it, but I'm interested how people are doing. I don't know. It seems like it's not one of the more popular ones. Probably, there's not a lot of depth in their secondary market. And only recently did we start seeing some really big discounts. So it's one I'm going to be paying more attention to. So would love to get that discussion going a little bit more in the Discord. Okay, what's next? Ground floor, this is one, this is my most consistent purchase, right? I'm buying on here basically every single week, and this week is no different. I bought a piece of 1 LRO. You'll notice I did up my investment on the, I'm using the auto investor, where I'm just buying the same amount in every single LRO that they list, and I'm just going for the widest possible diversification. Well, with my $50 investments, because some of my early ones were larger, as they're paying off, I've just been accumulating cash that's just sitting there. So I've upped this once I burn through that cash, I'll probably start adding money onto this platform again. If you remember, I actually took a big chunk off when they did this sort of artificial payoff of a bunch of the LROs. But now that's, we're getting 8 or 10 months past that. There's no indication that it's going to happen again. Hopefully it doesn't. I'm going to slowly try to build up a little bit more on here because it has been doing really well for me. You can see at the moment I have 119 pieces of loans. 16 are in extended status, but I still haven't had a single one go into default. Of my closed loans, 76 had gone into extended, but all of them have paid off, and the other 111 paid off with good actual rates, for everything that has paid off. I'm sure at some point I'll start to have some defaults. I know some of the people in the Discord have mentioned they've had a ton. I really think it probably has to do with the timing of when they got onto the platform, because I think a lot of lenders, especially people lending to flippers, which is what Ground Floor is doing, got in trouble in the 2022-2023 timeframe where interest rates changed quickly, markets slowed down. It got, so I think that's probably where a lot of those defaults came from, especially if the market picks back up. I think. Obviously there's always risk, and I think that there will, for sure, I will have defaults eventually if I keep investing on here. But I think the people that have experienced a really high percent of defaults, it's my guess that that's what the issue. But also, too, over time, and this happens, I've invested in debt in other formats as well. Over time, because troubled loans get extended and then default, and then they sit in default for a long time, the longer you have a portfolio of loans, the more you'll end up with defaults in there to a certain extent. And then, over a very long period of time, you end up just having, okay, this is my average that sits in defaults for a long time. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Going to be putting a little bit more money on here this year, hopefully. Hopefully they start to pump out a few more LROs. It's been pretty sparse, right? It's been like one a week, a couple that week, but like a lot of weeks, there's only been one or two. Hopefully they start putting out more again. Let's see what else on Lofty. And if you're not used to this view on Lofty, it's because I'm on loftyassist.com, not Lofty itself. I just like this platform better for actually looking at the stuff that I own. Obviously, I go to lofty.com when I'm actually buying stuff. But I know after last week, there was some concern because I don't think I bought anything on Lofty. This week, I had a couple of tokens that I sold because prices moved up quite a bit, and so I reinvested that money in a couple different properties. I bought some of 9 Country Club Lane again. This is a short-term rental run by Earl and Noah. Noah is the co-owner, Earl is the one managing it. I just think that they're I'm buying it at a very deep discount, right, to their original what they originally brought to the platform for. Is this really a discount to the real world value and what the equity is? I'm not sure, but I think it's a little bit. And I think that there's the potential for this token price to move a lot once this starts spitting off some yield, which I believe that it will. They're doing a lot to promote it, so we'll have to see. But I think all of the stuff that I'm buying on Lofty, it's always, I'm trying to make a really asymmetric bet. I want there to be the ability for a lot more upside than my the downside that I'm perceiving. That's what, whenever I'm talking about, I want a high, when I'm thinking about the risk adjusted return, I think there's a lot more risk on Lofty. So I want the potential for a much higher return. And this is one where I think that that's the case. The other one that I've been buying is Umland. This one is a lot of people have asked me, why am I buying this? This is a pure equity play. My average token purchase has been with a token price of $14 or maybe even $13 and change now. I think, realistically with a sale, we could get to $30 per token, maybe higher. Now we did propose to vote to sell it, and that got shut down. But I think in the long run, there's just, if I can buy $30 worth of equity for $15, and I don't think it's going to be trapped there forever. If it is, that, well, that'll be a problem for me. It's not like I have a ton on here, but it's again where I'm trying to make an asymmetric bet. I think that there's the potential for me to make more than, I think at $13 or $14, it seems really hard to lose money. Obviously, it could get foreclosed on. We lose our equity. I mean, there's always that potential. But I believe there's a path forward for this one to work, where that where that price is so low, and the outstanding loans relative to the appraised value, it's a low LTV. So even though there's some question on, is that mortgage getting paid regularly, which is a problem, I am not terribly worried about it because I think we have a big equity cushion. And I want to mention this because a lot of people read, I think, too much into when I'm buying stuff on Lofty and when I'm not. I had extra cash on here because I sold some tokens because those prices went up, and that's what I'm just constantly recycling that capital. My LeClaire funds, I am taking 100% of them off of the platform. Not $1 of that will be reinvested. So that's about 10% of the money I have on Lofty is coming off, and I'm going to move it either to ARC7 or to Mogul or Ground Floor or somewhere else, or just back into my regular portfolio. I'm really still just not at a point where I'm trying to add money onto Lofty. It doesn't, my long-term outlook for it doesn't look great. I think there's a lot of people working hard to save properties, to get certain properties running well, and some, am doing some reinvestment when I'm selling or reinvesting my rents. But I think I have enough on there to really continue to experiment, which is the main goal, right? And so far, I'm almost got to a point where I've decided it's a failed experiment. I'm never going to put a ton of money on Lofty unless they change the way they do things by a lot. Like it's I've complained about it a lot, and I don't need to get into it all here. But so I do think that there's still the potential because of these really deep discounts. But I can't imagine ever buying a new listing on there. And if that's the case, and there's a lot of people with that same sort of mindset, it's hard to understand where we go from here. But in the meantime, I'm going to be trying to make a little bit of money on whenever we do find a deep discount. And I think that there's some potential for us to, flip that and sell it either in the real world or have some other reason why there might be a good exit. That's it though. That's everything that I bought this week. I didn't buy anything on Mogul. Mogul did, I just got my dividends. So I'll be doing a video on that, my portfolio update on that probably in the next day or two. And they also launched a new property, so that will be coming out. Gotta really just, sometimes they all like sort of happen at the same time. So I gotta get on this. That's it though. So that's what I bought this week. Let me know what you're buying. Until next time, I'm going to just keep making mistakes so that you don't have to.